Hi everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have an extra special read for you today, so please stay tuned. There's some really beautiful, intense messages for you today, and the underlying energies were all about what I posted on the tag there. It was all about the lovers, the Two of Cups, the Six of Cups, the children in the garden, true love, this could be the one, and the Ace of Wands were all together in the underlying energy today. So really special energies, and the messages were very cool. It is May 18, 2019. Today is the full moon here on the East Coast in the States. The full moon is at 5:11, which is actually 17:11. The 18 is a 9, of course. It's of endings. It's universal selflessness, compassion. Okay. Universal selflessness. The day adds up to the 35-8, so here we have the Wounded Warrior, which also comes up as Mary Magdalene in the Oracle cards. So very much about that energy coming up between the moon and the Nine of Wands. Okay, and this is a powerful full moon in Scorpio. And my son is just home, and he's a Scorpio. And he comes up in the read as well today, so it was very cool. Let's see, this morning, my neighbors, who've been my new neighbors for quite a while now, actually introduced themselves to me today. So that was very nice. And his name was the same name as my son. We're mending fences, so to speak, because they were talking about putting up a new fence. So that's definitely a message for you guys. Also, when I came into my living room this morning, first looked out my front window, 2 birds flew right into my front tree. And I awoke at 7:47 this morning. The initial cut for this, for the Sirian Starseed deck, was at 8:47, so another 47, which is the 7 of Cups, right? Heaven in their eyes. All your synchronicities come up under the 7 of Cups. And then the main read was completed between 9:09 and 9:11 this morning. The major arcana were Luna, which is the moon, which is the center of the read today. How perfect for the full moon. Karma, which is the judgment card normally. Shadow, which is the devil. Reason, the emperor. And Hanging Man, which is the hanged man. There were 2 swords, 1 wand, 1 pentacle, and 2 cups. So here we have 2112. Okay, the reflection of the end of time from 2012. So very powerful, since there were very few numbers that came up in this read today. And being that it was at 9:09 to 9:11, okay, and the numbers encoding had to do with compassion and new beginnings today. Compassion and new beginnings. The numbers were 2, 3, 5, 33, 35, 55, 23, and 2112. So very significant there. 33 is that 7 of Wands, of standing up for yourself without being defensive. 35, like I said, is the Wounded Warrior, also Mary Magdalene. And 55 is the Ace of Swords, Excalibur. And 23 is the King of Wands. And that 5, 23, 5, is the King of Wands. And the 5 is freedom, expansion, change, all of those things. Also can be conflict, obviously, with a full moon tonight. And then the 2112 is 21 of completion and 12 of wisdom, which is also a completion number, the 12. And the message here about compassion, new beginnings, and this was interesting because this is the second day in a row that in the code line, TWO and then another O with the little squiggly lines in them. So they're like googly eyes, 2 eyes with like squiggles, like, you know, in the cartoons when they're kind of hypnotized. And this is the second day in a row that combination has come up. And it is about making googly eyes at each other, but also feeling hypnotized. And I was getting also, what was the other word I was getting? When I went into the read, a lot of the read pulled in all the stuff from the codes today, so it was very cool confirming all that stuff. But too googly eyes or too hypnotized on the high road, it was very clear about that. You are to clear to the nth degree the karma. They're bad or negative spirits. So the energies here were coming up about the twins under the divine masculine as a team, clearing the negative energies under this full moon. Clear to the nth degree. Could be a car, Ma, Empress, and any negative bad spirits associated with those energies definitely coming up were specific to that, and had to do with the high priest or priestess as the two googly eyes people, to clear, sage the karmic Empress negative energies, okay, in order to come to those new beginnings with compassion, though. Again, total weight also is coming up with total hip replacement. So someone who needs a total hip replacement, total weight is imbalanced, and they may feel woozy. Someone might have just had a hip replacement or need one, but someone was definitely coming up as woozy or just imbalanced because they need the total hip replacement, needing to clear their karma and their negative spirits by doing this, in order to bring them a new beginning and have compassion for themselves and not have to limp all the time anymore, which was perfect that this came up because I was just with my sister-in-law who should probably have this done, but you know, she's in a little bit of fear about that. So it's definitely coming up in general for anyone who that relates to. So again, car, Ma, Empress, anything related to negative spirits around those things were coming up here. And that whoever needs a total hip replacement, okay, to have compassion for yourself. Or it could just be someone who just had one, like I said, and they're kind of woozy, ooh, right, after the medication. So as starting the read, the underlying energy was the 3 of orbs and the 2 of crystals, okay, just like this. So the 3 of orbs in this deck isn't the same type of separation energy that I get from the traditional decks. I mean, the 2 of crystals is also very different because for me this is definitely surrender, okay? So this is separation. This is the masculine surrendering into a separation, but also with lightning striking and epiphanies, okay? It's very positive in this scenario. So separation in a lightning bolt, surrendering to the high road. TW also comes up as, because the TW of the TWO for 2 and O, for TWO and then another O for the googly eyes, but the TW flipped upside down comes up M and then upside down T, which for me is a toggle or grounding to the center of the earth. So it's about the divine feminine, the Mary Magdalene, to make sure to ground today. Needing courage to get past grief and emotions. And don't forget during this read, it's for the masculine, but the masculine within the feminine as well. Okay, it's all about surrendering to the high road as a team, the feminine within the masculine, surrendering to the high road, and for the divine feminine to help by ground, needing the courage to get past grief and emotions, drama of electricity and water, grounding to the Queen of Pentacles upright, who is sitting pretty, not needing to be strong, but instead letting go of ego, no need to be right, to release sadness, loss, grief, let go of the baton so the fourth runner can go, because otherwise you pull them down, right? They go down with you, going down with the ship. New love offered to drop burdens of codependency, addiction, the devil, shadow, Capricorn, the South Node, the fall of the patriarchy here. The divine masculine dropping seeds into the Holy Grail of Mary Magdalene, the divine confessional for shame and guilt, for sexual arousal and growth, new passion for divine lover. It's like the clock tower of Ben Franklin, Quasimodo, and Cinderella all at once. Scorpio full moon, and all is right with the world. Gabriel intervention to communication as the divine feminine searches the heavens for her true love, and the divine masculine feels sadness and regret for the one that he missed. Gabriel comes in here to assist. We turn the page, and it was 940, and then 942, because I had to go back, and 40 is the Page of Cups, of that innocent love, and 42 is the 2 of Cups, seeing eye to eye, soulmates, partners. And the 9, of course, is the Hermit, the wise one, the collective consciousness. So and I changed books at that point too, at 942, right? So there's a new book, a new story here. So we're definitely shifting this weekend, okay? 2,000 years of the divine masculine expansion, now retraction. of the divine feminine. Okay, so masculine is expansion, feminine is retraction. And this was definitely coming up from a past life regression that I was watching for Alba Weinman. And it was titled Someone Who Was Channeling Jesus, okay? And there's definitely something coming through that was linking something for me. So I have that in here as well. So 2,000 years of divine masculine expansion. Now there's a retraction. Oh, I know what it was. Jesus was describing this energy we're experiencing as this tsunami going out, right, in the expansion. But just like in our oracle cards, like the blood rushing out to the fingertips and back to the heart, so is the same with the tsunami, is rushing out in a tsunami and destroying everything in its path, but then retracting. So the out is the masculine energy, that aggression, the manifestation on the earthly plane. But don't forget that the feminine is the nothingness. That's the break, the retraction, in order to balance things out. So after the Spirit's connecting with me, the 2,000 years of the divine masculine expansion, now you have to understand we're in the two, not the one anymore. The one is the masculine energy, two is the feminine. We're now at 2,000, approaching 2020. For the feminine now retraction of the divine feminine, the nothingness, in order to achieve divine balance here. And just breathe. Like the tsunami coming into the coast for 2,000 years, it's now going back out to the shore, bringing back in the feminine by taking away too much divine masculine energy. Reconciling the universal checkbook, so to speak, spending too much and now saving more often. Always feeling like it takes forever to come in, but once it's arrived, it disappears before you know it. So the coming in may take a long time, but don't underestimate the power of the feminine energy, the nothingness, because it takes this long to take back everything that was given. Okay? So it always feels like forever to come in, but once it's arrived, it disappears before you know it. So it's also a call to make sure you appreciate it while it's here. It may take a long time for energy to build, but like in nature, it only takes a second to take it all away. Now you see it, now you don't. Now you understand the power of the nothingness of the divine feminine. Make no mistake, Mother Nature comes first. Father Time is a construct, an illusion. The takeaway, the lesson, the mother always gives life, gives birth. And then I was getting a download about they're using me as an example because my name is perfect with what they wanted, the message they wanted to bring. So Evelyn is little Eve, so it's all about Eve. Eve means giver of life, that name. And then my son Matthew, who just came home, means gift from God. But he's also the tax collector, don't forget. And then we have the Eve and also Mary of the virgin energies. But Mary means bitter, and you may have wondered why. Well, now you may understand after being on this journey, because the expansion or the pain that you've experienced, the growth, is the gift that your mother gives you. Bitter, or sea of bitterness, right? The turbulence of the emotional waters. Rebellion wished for a child. Also Mary, Mar is sea, and Y is that Y in the road, indecision, right? So that seasickness of being in indecision, that's where the devil lies, not in making the choice. So Maria and Miriam also come up around Mary as the root. This is all from ENM Wikipedia.org. The Egyptian root, MR, for Mary is love and beloved. And also myrrh, like myrrh. And myrrh also can reference the sea. But they reference it in Egypt as love and beloved. Like myrrh, which I guess would be considered bitter, the Hebrew root, MR, means bitter, rebellious. And St. Jerome in 390, which 39 is the Knight of Cups, the one who offers love to everyone, drop of the sea. But don't forget, the sea is salty, and how we would use our slang expression today, exactly, would be bitter. Okay, she's salty or he's salty. Per Rashi, in Wikipedia.org said the Israelites lived in Egypt for 210 years, including 86 which were of cruel enslavement that began when Moses' sister was born, Miriam. And some say that it was that Mary came after Miriam, which meant that, you had a bitter life. Most popular girls list, Mary was consistent as the most popular name from 1880, so here we are, 18 of the full moon tonight, and 80, and we also have 88 here of Lionsgate, but 80 is also my destiny number, but 8 is that 8 of the 2 8s standing next to each other, and then the 0 of the contained human. So 1880 to 1961, which is the year I was born. These are the years for which Mary was most popular. Maria rose to the top 100 in 1944, but like Mary, it reversed and went below the top 100. Mary in 2009 and Maria in 2012, they both dropped to below the top 100. So the gift of Mary, mother, bitter, biting off more than you can chew. The harsher your mother, the more you expanded. Her gift to return to love, if you can crack the codes. The tail end of the search now, having climbed the mountain between us twins, the Divine Masculine wakes up to realize the Divine Feminine is the DNA strand he's been in search of. His own lineage, his own kind. Call on Gabriel to make it better. Wise wisdom from the feminine masculine. And then a line from my song I was guided to bring up. Where are you? Come home. The Divine Masculine reconciling the shame he has felt about his Divine Feminine, his self. That what he was searching for. That what he was searching for was right there all along. And then Egypt came up also as paralleling to gypsies, right? So Egypt and those words are very similar, Egypt and gypsies. Gold bars and brown fuzzy socks, and this is coming up from the cards, and Fuzzy Bear. Egypt, gypsies, gold bars, and brown fuzzy socks have bent the truth for 20 years. 2020 hindsight. And then I literally saw an H in the wands that was like, what's the hotel? It's everywhere. It's not coming to me. But anyway, I saw this H that was like on an angle. So the H was, they weren't parallel. One was up higher than the other, and then the line between was on an angle down. But that symbol came up. So let me know if it means something. It's not familiar to me except for obvious things like that, like the hotel. But 2020 hindsight was coming up around that symbol, the H, but on an angle. Getting away with half-truths without balance, Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine in each person, there's no balance of the whole. Okay? So realize that we've gone the 2,000 years, but plus 20, and 2020 is all about judgment times 2, right, in hindsight. Passion and growth is a masculine trait. It's now time for a retreat of the feminine into love. Reconciling the human physical heart and the high heart of compassion. Mother's guilt, pulling him back in. Aisha, maybe Aisha may be coming up. But the leash on the dog, or the kids now. All right, there's a reason for that, for your mother's guilt. Because when the masculine energy gets out of hand, the feminine is the break, or the retreat, or the wave pulling in to rebalance it out. But we can do that without guilt. To allow them the freedom, but pull back in when they go too far. To go out to the world to explore, but come back home to base camp for supplies, to replenish, to refill your tank of love. It's all the same, but obviously nature repeats itself in all levels of reality. So then as I brought up the names, And I brought up Mary because Mary's also my mother. She's Mary Grace, actually. She's a Jew named Mary Grace. So how perfect in relating this, right, to our Jesus and Mary Magdalene template. And maybe that's why they use me to bring some of these messages, because I wasn't raised in religion, but my background is Jewish. And then we found out 10 years ago that my grandfather wasn't my biological grandfather, but my real grandfather was actually Russian Orthodox. So we have this bridging of faiths, okay? So now they were bringing, so me as Eve and Matthew as the tax man and as the name, meaning gift of God, and Mary as Mother Mary, but also my mother's name, Mary Grace. Also, then I was bringing up my daughter because she's Jenna, but she's not spelled like the normal Jenna, Jenna, she's Jehna. But the Jennas come from Jennifer, a Cornish a Cornish name derived from Guinevere, which came from the Welsh Guinevere, but spelled like Gwen, whereas Guinevere was spelled Guin, but the Guinevere was Gwenhwyfar, meaning fair lady, white, fair, blessed, which is so funny because my daughter's very pale and fair and blessed, smooth and soft. And Jenna was listed as the very rare, all right? She's number 64226 on the list of popular names of all time, all right? 64,226. And it's funny because 64 is the reflection of her soul number, 46. Oh, and then I'm just getting now, June 22nd is significant for someone. We have June 4th and June 22nd right there. Okay, so that's coming up for someone. But between 1880, so here 1880 comes up again, and that might, I don't know if that's the first year of Social Security where they kept those records, but it comes up again, 1880 of the moon and the 80 of the strength and the human embodiment through 2017 on Social Security. There were only 17 babies born with that name, Jenna. So here we have the 17 again through 2017 from 1880. And so I just quickly looked up Evelyn as well. And in 2017, Evelyn was the 9th most popular name, which was very surprising to me because I've met very few Evelyns in my life. The oldest one was April 10th, 1868. In 1921, 14,279 babies were named Evelyn, 1921. That's how popular it was back then. Jenna, also spelled Jena, means little bird or endurance. It's also a Hindi name for Gina, Gina. So that was very interesting. So I know it also is Jenna is a Syrian city, I believe. So it's also, someone had brought up to me at one point, it's about that the warrior, that rebel nature, which my daughter definitely has that. At 10:37, I resume to go back to the read. At 10:37, and 10, of course, is the Wheel of Fortune, the turn for the better, and 37 is the King of Cups, unconditional love. There's no option but to hold feelings back for the masculine. Letting go to fix things is no easy task. The gold coin hovering as a wounded warrior stands guard over the twins. The divine masculine is in his protector template, needing to fix possibly curtain tracks. Roman blinds were coming up, as well as yellow boots, possibly Mary Magdalene buttercup yellow, and spending money. Divine masculine could be deciding on what gifts to bring to his divine feminine. He will never give up protecting her. This is where his stance is right now. Pa-ra-pa-pa-pum came up there with the little drummer boy, feeling he does not have something to offer. The little engine that could, growing confidence in his knowing. And then this could be the one came up as the underlying energy, and below that was true love, that this is a romance of a lifetime. The Emperor's new clothes, as a shadow bride yanks her veil off her head. The Aries Emperor is focused on the truth fairy. Instead of a tooth fairy, the truth fairy instead. Mesmerized, this is the Emperor. Mesmerized, hypnotized, googly eyes, about to erupt inside at the Scorpio full moon. Tinkerbell, justice, the sweet truth, fairy tale. Libra longs for divine connection. 2 in June, fall for August rush. All worn out socks hung out to dry. Memories of yesteryear. Justice rings to bring in the new. The brand new connection. Lovebirds, pigeons in South France. At the castle, something knocked off the side of the bed table. Fairy tale connection of true love, longing for my toes and knees, in dress that's short in front. So those were all different things coming up between the feminine and the masculine. And as I turned the page here, it was 1052. 10 again is that Wheel of Fortune of good luck and destiny, and then 52 is the Queen of Swords. Okay? So it's definitely coming up the divine masculine, just looking there kind of like dreamy-eyed, thinking back about the divine feminine and just moments that he's remembered. Can't wait to bring her chocolates and dessert, perhaps. Taking the fall for love, where every day is Valentine's Day, not just February 14th. Or, is it China, August, I think it was, I can't remember, maybe August 9th this year, I think is Valentine's Day. So that could be coming up as well. And then I was getting the song, All the Leaves Are Brown and the Sky is Gray. Okay, so California Dreamin' was coming up. That's the Mamas and the Papas. So Mamas and the Papas are focused right now, but I was also getting the Beach Boys in California. Also, the movie California Dreaming was done in 1979, which is actually the year I graduated. So graduation was coming up here. That movie was about the trials, and this is at 11:01, I wrote this down. The trials and tribulations of TT, which is temper tantrum with the full moon, but it's also TT together is pi, the integration of the masculine and feminine. Okay, this is telling you, this is the culmination of this. This is like the start of the new life. This movie in 1979 of California Dreaming was the movie of trials and tribulations of TT, or Dennis Christopher, arriving in California with some recordings of his recently deceased brother's jazz music. The idea was to play near the ocean because his brother loved the ocean. And for me, a lot of us long to be near the ocean, and also the ocean is very good for the twins because it's, very powerful energy there for us. It's very clean and clear. And the movement of the water keeps things that way. So the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is that 79, graduation day. Okay? Domestic harmony comes up, as well as the number 46 with domestic harmony, which has already come up several times while we've been talking. It's the 2 children in the garden, the 6 of cups. And then underneath the domestic harmony was relationship change of 56. And 56 is the 2 of swords, being in your knowing. You don't need to see with the 3D eyes because you already know. Letting go of some cash, possibly for the divine masculine, to disconnect, break up. Make a decision or decisions already made to disconnect from what 3D eyes actually see. He knows, but also he has received information or clarity about, he's about to light the torch and stand tall, branded as flame, Olympic-sized, about to carry on, okay? First of 2 flames about to be lit, leapfrog, to pass the baton between dimensions to become a prince. Done being Miss Piggy's frog legs, now taking the fall, a fool for love, happily floating down, skywriting and baton twirling, streamers and rings, a round ankle and a special ring that's a 6 and a 9 depending on your perspective. All of a sudden he understands all of the universe, underlining pi, right? When you underline that, it becomes the symbol for Pisces, the fish. Jesus, Chiron, the wounded warrior, healer, and Cancer, North Node, and Scorpio, full moon. You notice they're all water signs, a recipe for emotion. Water signs in the mood for love, wherever your water is, will highlight a lot. Rising, how you are seen, right? So if the water's in your rising sign, it'll illuminate, expand how you are seen. In Mercury, for example, it will expand your communication, okay, etc. So Kermit came up here. He's changing his green legs to the color of magenta, wine, purple, burgundy. His new superpower, compression hose, energizes him to take on the world. The group around him may be stunned into submission. Energies coming in, suspended in midair, fingers crossed, and pinky swears. And by the way, the underlying energies for the read were only, this is just the underlying energies, Aries reversed, Leo, Gemini, and Capricorn, all upright and reversed. Okay? So I think it could be two separate people or the same, but there's definitely different scenarios here, because in the underlying energy, the twins would be upright, but the karmics would be reversed because it would have been a breakup. Okay? All right. So after the pinky swears we turn the page and it's 11:19. So 11 of justice, and sun is 19 of that masculine energy, and the masculine justice. So pinky swears right in line with left heart connection, because the pinky is in the energetic line of the heart. The left heart connection, the feminine, the compassionate heart, as opposed to the green physical heart of the masculine. The fool for love, surrendering to heartbreak. All bets are off as twins come together. Recently is the Knight of Wands. Now, before I go on, realize that not everyone's going to come together like that. This could be the beginning for someone of coming together, and for some they could be coming in together just like that, but for others it may be a process. So be aware and be okay with that. Make sure to stand in your truth and your power and your love space. So recently is that Knight of Wands. Separates in order to surrender. Lights a candle. As the Emperor reversed, amidst family legacy and sunshine, full power. The sun, ultimate manifestation of happiness, full exposure. The energy of a child. Now gladly trades in ego for the ultimate prize of being twin. The foundation here is the Queen of Cups, and she's coming up reversed in the read. This is coming up as karmic energy, but it can represent an aspect of the feminine as well, okay, because we all have different energies within us. But she's coming up reversed, which is very emotional, over-emotional, manipulative, okay? Because she could be just upright, an emotional person, because she's very loving and nurturing, but reversed is more of that harsh energy. The foundation of the Queen of Cups is implementing, purging, or planning to purge big this full moon, possibly knowing it's God's gift, so that would be the positive sense here. But in the negative sense, it's definitely a karmic energy who may be upset about a breakup, so she could legitimately be sad, but there's also some darker energies coming up in the read about how she may react to that. But grounding and integrating, mastering for the feminine, the 5D connection, and also the karmic could be doing that and reconciling and trying to make peace with that 5D connection. Centrally is that full moon coming up, all right? Very representative of this full moon. The flower moon, the corn planting moon, the bright moon, the milk moon, the blue moon, because it's the fourth one in this season. Because there's usually 3 per season, but there's 4 this time. This morning, a twilight, this morning, and this was under the UK Yahoo News for the full moon. This morning a twilight begins. Jupiter in south to southwest at 23 degrees above the horizon, and 23 is the King of Wands. And Saturn was south around 30 degrees above the horizon, which is the Four of Wands, right? That is the union energy. And then Venus was rising 7 minutes after twilight begins, but visible low east to northeast until 30 minutes before sunrise. Mercury was lost in the glare of the sun, basically. So you may not be able to see the communication there. But we're seeing Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus here. The King of Pentacles is standing his ground in a split with his world turned around, or just feeling like he's in that other world, grounding and integrating God's love and epiphanies, challenged by karma or karmic judgment, and dropping burdens and or confessing, happy on his own without family, wanting to share his happy half with the high priestess or secret 5D place of co-creation. Coming together for epiphanies as humble servants, him and his divine feminine, walking away from emotional attachments and going within for peace, away from conflict and fighting with their sham fam, or the family that wants to look good on the outside but isn't necessarily that way on the in, aroused by self-satisfaction, the masculine, of a higher love, his higher self, his twin. Now crowning is the Page of Pentacles, discovering their psychic abilities, or impatient with commitment to, or this could be also the Queen of Wands reversed, or that she is committed to bad temper, or the Taurus is amidst negative Leo and Sagittarius, Magician not satisfied and ready to cut all foolishness from his life. That definitely can represent the masculine discovering his abilities. It could be a child of the masculine or feminine discovering their abilities, depending how much masculine's in you. It also can represent a karmic though, that it's up to no good, because that can be associated with the Queen of Wands reversed. All right, so this could be the same Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands reversed, could be the same person for sure. And then they'd be up to plotting their revenge, basically. So that's the only real negative energy that's coming up in this reading. So it's whoever that is, there's somebody with a bad temper who's committed to that, so who the masculine is now realizing is never going to change, right? Now crowning is that Page of Pentacles, discovering their psychic abilities, impatient with commitment to Queen of Wands reversed, who's impatient or has a bad temper, or that she is committed to that bad temper, or getting her way, and right, throwing temper tantrums whenever she doesn't. Or he's seeing himself as a Taurus amidst negative Leo and Sagittarius, as the Magician with the tools, but not satisfied and ready to cut off foolishness from his life, manifesting a divorce and or break in contract or commitment, or a Libra that's just unhappy with Aquarius. Could be one of his kids, could discover their own abilities. And as we turn the page, it's 1154, and 54 is that Page of Swords. So definitely can be a child communicating, or it can just be a message or news coming through as far as justice. So it could be a final judgment coming in. But one of his kids could also discover their own abilities. Virgo, Libra, Sagittarius, Taurus, and Aquarius, Scorpio, Cancer, and Aries come up here, involved in that situation. Aquarius, very judgmental. Fire energies losing their temper, and air is ready to cut everyone down as needed. The earth is staying grounded. Hermit, healing, dreaming with sudden events and epiphanies of possibly a date with his twin. And then associated with that is the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles coming up together. So that could represent the masculine coming together on a date with the twin, or it could represent the masculine deciding to take the karmic out to tell her what he needs to tell her and just discuss where we're going from here, because they're breaking up. Okay, so it's one or the other. But to sort out this energy issue with a drink at the full moon and a toast to the high road, or to a split, either way. The bull exits stage right, which is masculine energy, 2 Cancers and 2 bulls in a split and exit strategy, with strength of this full moon to break the chains that bind. Cancer and Taurus were very heavy here, and I wrote Cancer and Taurus may go at it, and May is coming up because we're in the month of May, so that was very significant here. Because May 5 is that expansion energy and conflict as well. But they may go at it in an anger block, because there's definitely that right knee anger block coming up here for the masculine. And you know what happens when someone's got an anger block and the full moon, that's not a good combination. But soon, here is the 3 of Cups, or 3 of Chalices, of the Queen of Swords speaking truth about insecurities and how that's related to manipulation, causing resistance or blocks in creativity or sexual frustrations, sticking it to the man in the patriarchy fall, but in other words, i.e. bullshit. And there's definitely 2 bulls coming up here, so 2 very stubborn people or Taurus people, and dealing with ending their bullshit, basically. Okay, 2 Cancers and 2 Taurus energies. We're very heavy there. So that can definitely relate to the karmic, could relate to the masculine as well, and it could be in the feminine as well, but it's around the divine masculine in his energy. And as soon as I wrote how to stick it to the man, i.e. bullshit, immediately came up is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, where they play the game Bullshit at his parents' house. So after, where they're just playing a game with each other, he actually takes her home to meet his family. And that's the game changer. Okay, that's what needs to come up here. And Spirit's connecting with me. Justice, truth and balance. Libra in prison of sharing with those who keep begging. Finding peace with divine feminine out in the cold with nothing. So he's changing his perspective. A block to coming together due to insecurity and frustration. In other words, resistance, which we all know now blocks anything you want. Okay, because you need to allow and let go. Gossip and overindulgences, or overindulging other people, i.e. socializing, and keeping up with the Joneses, will never be enough. The superficial life is just more and more and more trying to fill the emptiness, refusing to stop and look inside. Rather protecting wounds or projecting wounds onto others, blaming others for your problems, karma or karmic, divine masculine is seeing himself as the Five of Swords. So we know the Five of Swords is definitely fear. It's about brain wars. When you're at war with yourself within, then what happens outside of you? There's conflict and fighting. The faceless green man is coming up for the masculine, right? So when he has a mask, he's faceless. But also, in my song, Christos Sophia, it starts out, he comes with no face, no name, no fame, but he was and he loved, okay? So the faceless green man, and Spirit's connecting with me, but he was his hermit, but now changing to his magenta color, juggling to keep 3 balls in the air while 2 have already fallen. And those 2 have been ignored. Dumped or crying or overwhelmed, pushed down for too long, refusing to work now while stuck at the Y in the road. The devil's in the indecision. When stuck and stubborn and or deliberating, those D words, the devil loves it and waves hello. He's got you chained if you allow it. Just make a decision no matter the path, release your fears, and the anxiety won't last. Free yourself. Forgiving and learning, and this was at 12:21. Again, also then, soulmate and passion. So after he frees himself and does the forgiving and learning with the family, then comes up the soulmate. Yes, it's their soulmate and passion. Crying, overwhelmed, stubborn, facilitating or vacillating, those are all dark energies, blocking love and your dreams and your wishes. So whenever you resist or get frustrated, that's an automatic block to the flow. So you're blocking the flow of good energies to you. As we turn the page, it's 12:23, and turning the page came up yesterday, I think, as well. I think it was yesterday. But so that's very significant because the story, the book, everything's changing this weekend. Okay, new story, new book as we turn the page. 12:23 is the 12 of the Hangman, which is the last card in the read. So we had this as how he sees himself, okay? You see him? The faceless man in the frog suit, the Kermit who gets walked all over by Miss Piggy, waiting to be a prince, right? And then around him is the shadow. The devil's all over this because the devil was on him as well as a clarifier. So what the blocks he needs to clear is about the Emperor and the false hand. You see him giving away the false hand, transmuting the false energies, the karmic energies around him, and control issues. So around the divine masculine, or how he is seen, is the shadow with drama for the King of Cups reversed in order to detach from. And that's why he has to be detached emotionally, because if you're around that dark devil energy all the time, you have to emotionally detach to survive. Moving to peace in codependency, loss of power, money, and independence. Now figuring out and knowing that the real power is love of self, not money, power, and independence, but rather love, patience, trust, and connection. The signs that came up in the read were Cancer reversed, Aquarius upright and reversed. So again, that can be 2 people or 1 person with negative and positive energies. Capricorn upright, Aries reversed, Pisces upright and reversed, Scorpio upright, Virgo upright and reversed, Gemini upright and reversed, Taurus upright, Sag reversed, Libra reversed, and Leo upright and reversed. But Leo really wasn't prominent in the read at all, very much so in the underlying energies, but just very little at the end here for Leo. But all 12 signs were there. So the masculine needs to clear blocks of the Emperor and any control issues left. The King of Wands was reversed, angry and frustrated, blocks new life from a beginning. The King of Swords instead should just pay out to the justice system and let go. So if the Divine Masculine's mad because he doesn't want to pay out a lot of money to the Karmic, he's just blocking his own good from coming in, whereas he just needs to let go. And I know firsthand in dealing with disability in the justice system, it's not till you let go that your happiness comes in, right? Do you want to be right or happy? Love or fear? Right or happy? Those are always the two basics you come back to. So new beginnings came up, as well as compassion for the masculine, but even more so here is spirituality, pride, synchronicities, following your guides, and then love. Home with the Queen of Wands, with the flame between them. The Divine Masculine cannot do anything now without knowing his twin is there too. The Hanging Man with right knee block is equating to stubbornness, impatience, coming out at the full moon, choosing the path of freedom, walking away from the BS, possibly a job or workplace with Leo, or exposure of anger issues, of a Cancer, Leo, Pisces, Karmic. Libra and Aries, getting out of it. Hanging Man inspired to run, make a getaway, see a new perspective, and break the old worn-out patterns, now running toward his Divine Feminine. So the last two cards of the read is that Hanging Man, and then after the read card is the Five of Cups of grieving or getting over grieving. But here it is definitely in this position, okay? So it's not where it's upright and he's got the epiphany or new idea, but it's about hanging in limbo during this full moon energies, right? To stay under the radar, basically. But you see this right knee block here, it's about anger issues. So whenever you have hip issues, which total hip replacement came up, knees and ankles, it's all about anger. And here is the release, right? So you need to purge, to release. So you can yell and scream and hit a pillow, but just don't take out the anger on anyone else, because that just puts the negative energy back into the world. If you scream at the top of your lungs by yourself, or you punch a pillow, it's not hurting anyone, it's allowing you to release. But also a good cry always helps to release all those energies, but also allow whatever's bothering you to come up so you can see it and release it. When did I first start reacting this way to this specific situation? Go back to your very young childhood, see what it is, where's the entry wound that you need to release. Again, clear those blocks of the Emperor and any control issues that are left for the masculine and the masculine within the feminine. The King of Wands is reversed and angry and frustrated, okay? And that's blocking the new beginning. So home with Queen of Wands with the flame between them, and the masculine now realize, he can't feel anything without knowing that his feminine is there, and then feeling guilty and feeling shame about it for both parties involved. So the Hanging Man is inspired to run, make that getaway, and see a new perspective, break old worn out patterns, and now running towards his Divine Feminine, which is because he's running towards himself, his higher self. Release, and he's standing up for himself to people who have maybe used him or manipulated him or not treated him right, or used him or only staying there because of the money or whatever it is. But releasing anger through purging, dropping facades and patterns, and hanging out in limbo if needed, being still, learning how to be still, because that's when you connect to your higher self. The Empress is orchestrating pie in the sky, potentially. Could be some dark energies in a downturn or plans to take down the Queen of Cups reversed. But the Empress is upright here. So I'm getting more so that it's the Empress present with options and breaking patterns, while down on her luck, the Queen of Cups reversed is purging deception, feeling like a failure or just bad news, getting bad news and no attention. So that could definitely be some karmic energy there. But the Empress could also be the mother of this person as well. Or the Empress can be the Karmic, and the Queen of Cups could be the same person. So it just depends on your situation. But either way, I'll tell you the position of all the couples here in the read. Clearly deciding on emotional fulfillment, aligning with details, cracking codes, and organizing bills and paperwork right now for the masculine. A messenger of truth, or the Knight of Swords, may be amidst a breakup of lovers and rejection around them, and or no affection or love loss, and possibly a moody child, or a moody or spoiled child is lashing out due to no affection from their parents at this time. Surrender to self in separation from out of control Leo and or ego. As we turn the page, it's 1244 of grounding and integrating and mastering, in limbo, staying still. But this Leo, surrender to self in separation from out of control Leo or ego, over it in lieu of the Queen of Pentacles upright, who is also remaining grounded. So that's more of the divine feminine energy. It could be someone else around the masculine too, is very well grounded. It could be a friend or a sister, that kind of thing. But there's a breakup or separation with the Queen of Cups, or due to the Queen of Cups, at war with the devil, the Knight of Wands at the full moon, challenged by karmic judgment of coming together with the Emperor, or overindulgences of the Emperor with psychic abilities and anger issues, grieving and needing to let go. Surrender to separation and or heartbreak, to ride in passionately as the masculine, the Fool in love, the Queen of Cups purging at the full moon and plotting her revenge. The Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, like I said, could be the same person. Leo and Cancer, Pisces, Taurus, Aquarius, challenged by karmic judgment. At war with third party, she plans to hang out to dry. Shadow of the Emperor is the karmic false light, the full moon. The false light with anger, possibly anger issues and grief or depression issues, or a child plotting revenge for their mother or against their mother, or kids out of control, drinking, plotting, experimenting, angry, grieving, karma at this full moon. Fear, anxiety, stress, anger, gossip, third party, overindulgences, addictions and codependencies, and control issues, all up on the table for Scorpio full moon release. Swing low, sweet chariot, calling you to carry me home. Okay, so that's talking about this transition. The transition, the complete transformation is happening with this full moon. Rest injuries, cry and scream as needed, alone, not at each other. Only communication here should be that of peace, or don't talk at all. Main energy is that full moon release, the challenge being judgment, karma, karmic, Knight of Wands coming together with the Emperor, Queen of Cups reversed, plotting and fear, brain wars, shadow side, separation, with an opportunity to learn to be still and purge. Allow and not resist. Allow nature to occur. So things to occur naturally. Okay? And so as I was done this read, it was 114, and that's the Magician and the Angels, your embodiment. And my male happened to be 11552, which is Justice, the Truth, and the High Priestess, or you could have the Queen of Swords in there as well. So it doesn't really matter, because they both end up the same as the Divine Feminine. So the energies, like I told you before, the Emperor was reversed and the Empress upright. So if there's a couple, whether it's grandparents or the Divine Masculine and his karmic, the Emperor's coming up reversed and the Empress upright. So I'm not necessarily getting the Empress as the karmic. It could be like a mother who's upright, or it could be the Divine Feminine who's in her upright. But it's someone who's breaking patterns and things like that. But it's right next to the Queen of Cups reversed, who's in deception. Now this was very interesting the way the couples came out. All of the kings and queens were out on the table here as clarifiers. And they were all in the same position together. So the King and Queen of Pentacles were upright as a couple. Now these also can be siblings if they're the same suit. Could be best friends as well, but it usually relates to a couple or siblings. So the King and Queen of Pentacles upright, the King and Queen of Swords are also both upright, but the King and Queen of Pentacles were sitting together. So this is definitely like a couple. The King and Queen of Swords were both upright, but not right together. But there's nothing wrong with that. They could be a couple. It's just they weren't in the same place at the same time. The King of Wands and Queen of Wands were both reversed. So there's a lot of tempers out there today, just letting you know. And then the King and Queen of Cups were also both reversed. Not a good combination of fire and water signs, all reversed. But all the couples were in sync, whatever their energy was, upright or reversed. So stay away from the Wands and Cups energies this weekend, unless it's someone whose cups may just be purging as well, okay, because they'd be crying. But watch out for the fire signs for sure. The pages and knights that came out. The Knight of Wands was upright, as well as the Page of Wands. So the wand, it's funny because the Wands adults stay away from, but the Wands children were great. The Page of Wands and Knight of Wands were a positive energy. Page of Cups was reversed, so you might have a lot of whiny children out there, also spoiled brats. The Page of Swords and Page of Pentacles weren't showing. They were in the deck as the clarifiers, but the Page of Pentacles was definitely one of the main cards, and that was reversed energy. So Page of Pentacles reversed. So that child up to no good with the psychic energies, plotting revenge, so that's definitely watch out for the Page of Pentacles. And that could be an adult as well. But again, it's going to come out as a fire sign or a Cups energy if it's reversed, that Page of Pentacles, if it's an adult. But if it's a child, it's an Earth sign, Page of Pentacles reversed. And Page of Cups. So water and earth kids are bad. But for the kids, the Page of Swords was also reversed. So all the pages were reversed except for the Page of Wands. And the Knights, the Knight of Wands was upright, and the Knight of Swords were upright. But the Knight of Pentacles was reversed, and the Knight of Cups were both reversed. So watch out for the Knights manipulating. So that could be those Cups in reverse, could be manipulative energy. I'm sorry, the Knight of Cups is upright. So actually a King or Queen of Pentacles or Swords may actually offer love. So that's good. But if it's a really watery energy adult or fire energy adult, stay clear of them. The Knight of Pentacles was the only knight that was reversed, but that's not as intimidating because it's the Knight of Pentacles, who if they're reversed, they're just not doing anything. They're being still. So nothing much to worry about there. Just be not working, so maybe stubborn and refusing to work. All right, so that's everything about this read, and I am going to go and do the Oracle cards today, but I'm going to get going since it's already 56 minutes. I hope you like this. This was a really powerful read today, so I forgot to take a picture of the basic cards, which I already showed you, but I do have the full read here. So I have the full read here. Okay. And also there were some cards that came out in the shuffle. I'm going to show you those, I think. Did I get them? Or maybe not. No, not today. I think that might have been yesterday. Okay. So guys, drink your water. You know, get your rest as best you can. I actually been sleeping pretty well. And, you know, be happy. You know, don't let these negative energies get you down. You might want to lay low, though, just so there's no drama coming into your sphere that's not necessary. But you know how to deal with the situation. Just stay out of it. You know, if someone wants to talk and they can be peaceful, good. If they can't, walk away. But you might want to just lie low. But rise and be loved, guys. Bye.